we have Daniele Grosso with us here at History International Film Festival Austria. We're going to talk about his film. He will present it to us with a few sentences now, and he's so kind to do this little interview with us on our first interview day. You will be able to watch the film when the festival airs for its whole time, and we hope that you all get excited for it, because it's a very artistic piece, one of the more creative ways to tackle the topics of history, and a very aesthetic thing, if I can say so. So Daniel, if you could describe to us a little bit what your film is about, what were special challenges for you, and maybe you could introduce yourself a little bit more into details than we just did. Thanks.
Yes, thank you. I am Daniele Grosso. I'm an Italian filmmaker based in Portugal. I'm speaking from Lisbon at this moment. And I'm the director of the film The View from the Plane. And it's a sort of, I should say, I consider it an animated documentary, in the sense that it's a film about real events, and but at the same time it doesn't have any real image, because it's an animated film. So there's this new interesting category, I think, in cinema, that is animated documentary. And I consider my film a sort of animated documentary, more even of an experimental side in this sense. And it's a film about a flight that a German philosopher called Gunther Anders took in 1958 to go to a conference, to take part in a conference in Japan about disarmament and the fight against nuclear bombs. At the time, it was a very central topic of discussion in society, and he was an activist for nuclear disarmament. And my film is just a continuous shot from the view from the plane, and during this long shot, it's about 5 minutes, we hear a voice that narrates the real words that Gunther Anders, the protagonist of the film, wrote in his diary after he came back from this trip to Japan, and he published this this diary after in a book. So they are his real words, and so it's real words about a real event, but the film is completely animated, so there are no real images in it. This is in short what the film is about.
I guess that makes us curious about some of the secrets of your craft. Could you tell us a bit how you made the film?
Mm-hmm. So the background, that is most of this landscape, I made it in a sort of collage way. I generated many of the images with these AI tools that are available now. I asked for a slice of a rock, of a limestone rock, with lichens and city-like structures, and so I was not trying to recreate a real landscape that you can see from a plane, but a fictional landscape that looked at the same time very big, because you're from a plane looking at it, but also very small. Because the point of the film, the message of the film, is that from a plane you cannot see really the people you're going to bomb, because this plane in the end goes on top of a city, of a map of a city, and it's the map of Hiroshima. So in this philosophy of this author Gunther Anders, he says that there is this discrepancy between our faculties as human beings and the power of the technology that we have. So the technology of a plane is so it makes possible that you can bomb from very far away, and so you cannot see the people that you're bombing, and so you cannot feel anything. You cannot feel hatred. You cannot feel anything. So that's why I chose to make this landscape at the same time very big and very small, to show this contrast.
Okay, thank you very much. We at our festival tackle mostly historical events, as you did, and we'd like to know if there is a special approach for you, because all filmmakers try to get engaged with their topic and with their subject in a different way. Some start by doing a lot of research and reading in papers, others do interviews, but you are describing a very personal, a way close to being in the perspective of the plane, with all the distance that comes between you and your victims when throwing a bomb. So there is a very subjective way of speaking about and showing a historical event. So I'd like to know more about your personal way of getting engaged with the subject that you took for this piece, or in general for historical films. Maybe you are planning already others, or did already others. So if you
Yes, I think I'm very interested in the subjective point of view about things in general. But at the same time, I believe that this film in particular, is more a film about ideas. It's more about an idea, and I want to convey the idea of the author I chose to use in my film. So it's not subjective in that sense, but because it tries to be very very general, to say something very wide about society, about human psychology. So I think it's at the same time very personal for me, and has a subjective view expressed in the film, but at the same time it's very 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 wide. And my inspiration for my approach to make documentaries in this moment using animation, I think it's very different from the other documentaries I made in the past, because not using real interviews, because I like making interviews as well in my work, but this kind of documentary is I like it because you already say explicitly that you're not showing the real thing, so the audience has to trust you, and that you're trying to say the truth, but without trusting that everything you are showing them is the thing. It's not there's not a direct reference to reality.
So will you develop and evolve this idea of making a documentary in such a way? Do you have plans for further productions like this?
Mhm. And I already done one. My last short film was about another author called Roger Caillois, and he was a writer that was a French writer who got stuck in Argentina, in Patagonia, during the Second World War, so more or less in the same period of this film. But that film was even more personal for me. Was not really an animated documentary. It was more a mix between my personal experience and the experience of that author I took inspiration from. So it was even more mixed. I wouldn't consider it an animated documentary. This one is more more the real thing, because I'm using the real words of his author, so it's more close to reality. Yeah.
Are you actively trying to get this piece of art, I'd say, into a museum that could display it in a right context?
No, not really. No, I'm going to present this film in a couple of weeks in a conference here in Lisbon. It's a conference about the theme is ecstatic truth. That is this concept developed by Werner Herzog, trying to explain his approach to truth in his documentary, because many times he doesn't stick exactly to the literal truth, but I would say we can say he has a more poetic approach, modifying even some parts to convey this more ecstatic truth, to reach this point of truth he's trying to convey. So this is a conference about this topic. I think it's already the seventh edition. So I applied to this conference, and I'm going to present this film talking about the topic of using AI generated images in this kind of films.
Yes, there will be a lot of situations when you talk about the film and tackle it more from the side of creating with AI something. Of course, that isn't the most important aspect from our festival's view, but it's still interesting because we got like 2 or 3 submissions so far that used AI. Some of them are kind of problematic for our festival, because if people try to simulate specific situations, people dressed in clothes of and of course battles and so on, the AI completely loses its way, and it's less authentic than a fantasy festival. And I think you used it for a historical topic in a way that still works, because it's used for creating art that also transforms ideas and transfers knowledge. And I think it's a very good way to use AI for films in our time, especially for historical stuff that should give you an idea about the period and not just pictures to have fun with them.
Yeah, thank you.
Our festival is also about getting people connected and getting filmmakers connected. And so I wanted to ask you if another film production, let's say a more conservative documentary, came to you and asked you to make at least a small part of their documentary with your techniques to stand out in the midst of the documentary, like you often see in series and films when something, the mold breaks and it gets your interest back. Would you be willing to contribute to another project with your style and art?
Yes, yes. I'm completely open to collaborations with other artists or in a more traditional way of doing documentaries, for sure.
Okay, great. Then we hope that with our festival, of course, we'd also like to invite you to watch the films when our festival airs, and we'd love to see people getting connected and trying to make projects with one another, because I think that people that use art to express history are rare, and I think that it's a real gem that you made. We really enjoyed watching it now several times, and I think that it has a very good place in our festival.
Well, thank you very much. I'm really happy that you selected my film, and I try to come. I still don't know if I manage to come to your festival, but would be great.